focus this hour. After days of fierce clashes in the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region, Armenia and Azerbaijan have finally signed a deal to end the war. The two warring nations signed an agreement with Russia to end the fierce fighting in the disputed region. The pact signed with Russia calls for the deployment of nearly 2,000 Russian peacekeepers and territorial concessions as well.
Исходим из того, что достигнутые договоренности создадут необходимые условия для долгосрочного и полноформатного урегулирования кризиса вокруг Нагорного Карабаха на справедливой основе и в интересах армянского и азербайджанского народов.
Meanwhile, Russia has started to deploy its peacekeeping troops to the war-ravaged enclave as part of the deal. The deal agreed upon by Armenia, Azerbaijan and Russia ushered in a full ceasefire from midnight, freezing the conflict. Under the deal, Azerbaijan will get to keep all of its territorial gains, including the enclave's second city of Shusha, and the ethnic Armenian forces must hand over the control of other territories between now and December. Russian peacekeepers will be deployed in the region for at least 5 years. Azerbaijan has called the Karabakh ceasefire a surrender by Armenia. Armenian Prime Minister took to social media to announce the peace deal. Nikol Pashinyan said on Facebook that he had signed an agreement with the presidents of Azerbaijan and Russia to halt the fighting that has raged since late September. He wrote that the decision was unbelievably painful for him. Protests have started to erupt across Yerevan following the announcement of the peace deal, and Armenian protesters are angry over the country's agreement to end fighting with Azerbaijan over the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region. The protesters stormed the government headquarters in the capital city. Meanwhile, dozens of demonstrators gathered near Armenian Prime Minister's official residence to show their dissent over the peace deal. Protesters smashed doors and broke furniture in conference rooms. Pashinyan said that those involved in the unrest would be severely punished. Now, for a better understanding of the terms and conditions of this new peace deal arrived upon between Armenia and Azerbaijan, the political analyst from Russian international news agency Sputnik, Dmitry Babij, is live with us from Moscow. Dmitry, thanks so much for joining us on this broadcast. Finally, a peace deal between Armenia and Azerbaijan. Tell us a little bit about the terms of this deal and the role played by Russia in all of this.
Well, I think it's welcome news because the carnage, the killing has been going on far too long. And if it's possible to enforce a compromise between the warring parties, I think that's already a huge achievement. And It's very important that Russian peacekeepers will be deployed there because the Armenia traditionally views Russia as an ally, and the Azerbaijani president Ilham Aliyev on his side also said that he is happy that Russian troops will be separating the two sides. So it's a very good development that the peacekeepers who will be between the Russian and the Armenian forces have the trust of both sides. The situation would have been much worse if a party that is supported by only one side would be placed between them.
Right.
Of course, Armenia, or rather its puppet state of Nagorno-Karabakh, will have to cede some territory in the end to Azerbaijan. Basically, if we look at the international law, that would be a natural development because let me remind you that all of Nagorno-Karabakh officially is a part of Azerbaijan.
Right.
This territory fell under Armenian control in the late 80s when undeclared war started between the two former Soviet republics.
Right.
And not only all of Nagorno-Karabakh is now, was under Armenian control, but also several adjacent Azerbaijani territories. So it would be only natural if these territories, which are now empty, there is no one living there, these territories went to people in Azerbaijan who used to live there. I don't see anything tragic about it.
Right.
But I think security, the Armenian population of Nagorno-Karabakh should be guaranteed. And this will be the task for the Russian peacekeepers, because let me remind you, Nagorno-Karabakh has a population of 160,000 Armenians.
Right.
It used to be a home for 100,000 Azerbaijanis who are now living as refugees in Baku and other Azerbaijani cities. I will only be happy if they can return to at least part of their homes. I think there is no talk about total surrender of Nagorno-Karabakh to Azerbaijan. So there will be a compromise enforced by Russians. I think for the moment it's the best solution.
Now, Dmitry, just focusing a little bit more on the aspects of this deal, Armenia, as a matter of fact, the Prime Minister has called this a very painful agreement, while Azerbaijan says that Armenia has surrendered. So what does this mean in the larger global scheme of things? Has Armenia effectively given up control of the disputed Nagorno-Karabakh region?
Well, as usual in such cases, when you have a war, please don't trust either side. You know, the truth is always in between. Of course, Armenia was not totally defeated, but the two sides were sliding towards a disaster because they were using more and more destructive weapons. And unfortunately, both countries have bought very destructive weapons in the 26 years of peace that they had, so they can actually strike at each other's cities. That was limited to several rare incidents during the fighting that took place in October and the end of September. So thank God we did not, the situation was not degraded to that level. But of course, what happened is a compromise. And for Mr. Pashinyan, it's painful because he may lose his position in the government.
Right.
He may lose a part of his popularity. Let me remind you that he came to power as a result of a protest action which had a vivid pro-Western, anti-Russian character. And after coming to power in this way, he started to demand from Russia military help during this current crisis, because Azerbaijan is stronger than Armenia militarily, financially, and he Mr. Pashinyan suddenly became a victim of his own ambitions, because he, in a way, provoked the Azerbaijani attack, which of course was an attack, by his statements that Nagorno-Karabakh is a part of Armenia forever. And, it even contradicted the official narrative of Armenia, because Armenia never quite recognized Nagorno-Karabakh Republic as a state. So the position in this crisis was that we have an alliance with Armenia, but not with Nagorno-Karabakh. If Armenia is attacked, then Russia would have to help, but cannot extend our security guarantees to a region which Armenia does not even officially consider its own territory.
Right. Dmitry, just my final question here before we sum up our discussion. What lies ahead in the political landscape of the two sides, and will Russia play a bigger role in regional politics?
Well, I think Mr. Pashinyan's career is in danger now. He obviously will lose some of his popularity. Ilham Aliyev, on the other side, I think is going to consolidate his power in Azerbaijan. He was viewed mostly as his father's son until recently, because his father, Heydar Aliyev, was, the first president of, the first president under whom Azerbaijan became stable in the years of independence from the Soviet Union. So he got his position from his father, but several years of very successful economic development, and this story with the a return of territories will, of course, add to Ilham Aliyev's popularity. As for Russia, the main thing for us is that the carnage has stopped, or at least we hope it will stop, because if refugees started flowing from Armenia and Azerbaijan, the first country they would flow to would be Russia, because we have millions of both Armenians and Azerbaijanis living in Russia. They are our citizens. We were citizens of the Soviet Union. Together with them, we watched the same television, went to the same school. So we viewed this conflict as a tragedy. If it stops, that would be already a huge boon for Russia.
Right. All right, Dmitry, thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast, and thank you for all your insights into this news development.